welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching. My name's Chrissy and today we're going to be doing a Kesha makeup look from her video Praying. It's a very simple yet sophisticated makeup look. She has more of a natural face, so I'm not going to do any foundation today since her face is pretty natural. You can see all of her freckles on her face, and it doesn't really look like she has much other than some concealer under the eyes and maybe around the nose to make sure there's no redness. I'm going to start off with the eyebrows first. Her brow shape is a lot different than mine. So I have already moisturized my skin and put on some facial oil, and I'm going to go ahead and start the brows. I'm also going to put on a little bit of lip balm. I'll probably speed this up a little bit just to make it a little bit faster, but her brows look very natural, just a little fluffy and fuller, and they're more of a straighter brow. So I'm going to see if I can do that with my brows. Usually I end up doing them a little bit more arched than hers, but I'm going to try to make mine a little bit more fluffy and straighter. So I'm going to go in with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz, and this is in the shade Chocolate. So I'm going to start off by outlining the under part of the brow. Don't worry about it being perfect. You can go ahead and clean it up with concealer. And then I'm going to outline the top of the brow. So now I'm going to take my Benefit Goof Proof Brow Pencil in the shade 5. And this one's a little bit more of a point, the Anastasia one, and this one is more of like a triangle kind of shape. It doesn't come to a precise point, so if you have thinner brows, this can be a bit hard to fill in really sparse brows. But if you have thicker brows or you don't need that much filling in, it can be a little easier. So you just want to apply light pressure and just kind of go over where you have the most gaps of hair, and then go through and comb through with your spoolie. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. I am going to go ahead and clean it up with some concealer. So I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of my Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Fair and Neutral. I'm just going to put a little dab on the back of my hand. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my Morphe M421 brush. So making sure there's not too much product on the brush, I like to just kind of not go straight in right away and make sure there's not too much product on the brush. I'm going to blend out this a little bit so it doesn't dry, because the Tarte Shape Tape is very matte and dries very fast. Now I'm going to go in with primer. This is the Milk Makeup Blur Stick. It's a really good pore filling primer, especially if you have combination skin. I find that it really does fill in my pores, and it really helps the makeup sit on the skin a lot better. And it is very easy and convenient because you really can just swipe it onto your skin. Now, since I have a lot of darkness, I'm going to use the Urban Decay Naked Skin color correcting fluid, and this one is in Peach. And I'm going to go right in here where I have most of the darkness, and then right in this area. And I'm going to do the same thing that I would do with most concealers or color correctors. I'm going to let this dry for a little bit so I get the maximum amount of coverage, because I find that if I don't do that, then it kind of can blend away into nothing. The Tarte Shape Tape and the Smashbox Studio Skin Concealer are both very full coverage, and if you wait too long to blend them out, you can have an issue blending. But I find that any other color corrector or concealer than these two, you should wait and let them dry and kind of do their thing before you blend them out, and that's going to give you the most amount of coverage you can get from that product. I'm going to use a mixture of the two, the Smashbox Studio Skin 24-Hour Waterproof Concealer and the Tarte Shape Tape. These are both really, really great products. They're both in light neutral, or this one's in fair neutral, this one's in light neutral. The Smashbox one is a little bit darker, and that's why I'm going to use both, because this one is just a tad bit darker. So I'm going to go right around my nose where I would have some redness, and I'm going to go a little bit on the nose, not a lot, because I do have freckles there. Even though it is red, Kesha kept most of her freckles. I'm going to do a little bit on the chin because my chin tends to get red, and then a little bit on that weird bite that I just got. And on any of the blemishes or red marks that I have some discoloration. So I'm going to just go over those very lightly with concealer, because we want to keep our face pretty much like natural. You don't want to put too much product on. And then a little bit right in the center here, because I do also have discoloration there. I'm just going to go over those areas with a little bit of the Shape Tape, because that would be a little bit too dark. So I'm going to just put a few dots, kind of dotted around those areas. And I'm going to go ahead and use my dampened beauty blender. So you just want to go in and very lightly pounce over those areas that you put concealer down. You don't want to swipe when using a beauty blender, because that's going to take away most of the coverage. You just want to very lightly pounce over the area to get the maximum amount of coverage that you can. I'm going to use this side to go around the nose. So I want to cancel out some of the redness, but not make my skin look too done. So I'm going to go ahead and take the black beauty blender and blend out this corrector. Now I'm going to go in with just the Tarte Shape Tape and 2 dots underneath here. And then a little bit, and then the smallest amount goes a long way. I'm going to take a little bit of my Physicians Formula Bright Booster Elixir, Oil Elixir, and I'm going to put a few dots on my, or a few drops on my beauty blender. Then I'm going to go in and start at the inner corner and kind of pinch the beauty blender, very lightly dabbing over where I put that concealer down. And I want to keep most of the coverage where I have most of my darkness, so that's not right at the lash line, that's more down here where I put my concealer. I want to put my concealer where I need the most amount of coverage and really kind of blend that out before bringing it into the lash line. If you put too much product on your lower lash line, you're bound to crease. And for most of us, we don't have a lot of darkness right at the lash line. So using an oil to help you blend it out is going to help with the creasing for one, but also only putting it where you need the most amount of coverage is going to help to have it not crease. So I'm going to use the Bare Minerals Translucent Powder Duo, and I'm going to use the matte side. And I'm going to go in with a dampened beauty sponge, again, the black one. And I'm just going to dip into this powder a few times And I'm going to grab my Pink Beauty sponge and make sure there is no creasing under the eyes before I go in and set this. So you want to put just a little bit of powder, not too much powder, or that will cause caking and any creasing under the eyes will look a lot worse. So you want to look all the way up and then start setting the eye. And I only set the first half of my eye. I don't set any further than that because for one, I don't need to, but for two, I just find that it makes my under eyes look a lot older and more crepey than what they actually are. I'm going to take that same sponge with some of my Maybelline Fit Me powder in the shade Fair. This is 05 Fair. And I'm going to go over the spots where I get the most oily and the spots that we put concealer, of course. You don't need to set anywhere that you didn't put concealer. So I'm going to go on the nose and really press this into the skin and lock that in. Now I'm going to take my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finishing Skin Micro Powder in the shade 1, which is Fair, and it looks like this. And I'm going to take that on a Royal & Langnickel powder brush and just dip in a little bit, and I'm going to set, not really set, but I'm going to put it on the places that I didn't put with the other powder, just to kind of give the skin an even look, but also add a little bit of coverage to the areas that I didn't put concealer. And then I'm going to brush off the rest of this bake. I'm also going to take that Maybelline Fit Me powder and set my eyelids. I'm just going to get rid of this creasing on the eyelids first. So I'm just going to set this with the Maybelline powder. So Kesha didn't have a lot of bronzer, but I'm going to go ahead and put some on. This is a little bit light for me right now. I use this shade in the winter and it is absolutely beautiful, but they have tons of different shades. I recommend any of them, but this is the Laura Geller Baked Balance and Brighten Foundation, but it's a bronzer, really. I mean, come on. And this is in the shade Fair. Like, that's definitely not a foundation powder. I don't know why they call it that. But this is a beautiful bronzer. It works amazingly. It blends really well. I'm going to take that on a Japanese brush. And I'm going to start back at the hairline and start sweeping it forward. And I go right above my cheekbones so that I don't go too low. And I don't want to bring it down here, so I start like right up above my cheekbones and then kind of blend it down. So this is very light. It's just going to warm up the skin just a little bit, but not like what I would do for every day. It's just going to give a little bit of warmth and a little bit of definition, but I really don't think she had a lot of bronzer on. And I'm going to go ahead and bring that underneath the jaw. And I'm going to take a little bit on this brush on the very tip. Make sure there's not too much. And just go down the nose. I'm going to take the Bare Minerals Powder Duo again. And take the Glow shade. And just put a little bit on the forehead. A little bit on the chin. This is a very, very soft and subtle glow. I don't think she had a ton of highlighter on, if any at all. That's why I'm using this shade, because it is a very, very light glow. It's like a barely there, like, is she wearing something kind of thing. So I went ahead and added a little bit of my Jouer Citrine highlighter right over that, just at the very tops of my cheekbones, because I like to glow. And now we're gonna do some blush. It looks like she did have quite a heavy blush on, but it was more of like a pinky tone. I'm actually gonna use the Marc Jacobs Air Blush in Kink and Kisses, but I think this is gonna be a good color. It is quite pink, and she had a fairly heavy blush on, which I usually go for a little bit lighter, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to do it a little bit heavier. If you don't like a heavy blush, you definitely don't have to go in with as much. You can go in as sheer or as heavy as you like. So now that we have that done, we're going to move to the eyes. She doesn't have a lot on her eyes, so I think I'm just going to take the bronzer that we used and throw a little bit of this in the crease, just to have a little bit of definition there. Not a lot, just a little bit. And it doesn't look like she had anything on the lower lash line, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in the crease. So after we've done that, just take any flat brush, and I'm going to take the shade Sin in this Urban Decay shadow box. It's a little box. If they still have it for sale, I know that it had went on sale for $18, which is pretty good for the amount of shades you get. They're all shimmer except for this shade. And take the shade Sin and just put this on the lid. It's kind of a pinky pearly shade, but I just want a hint of shimmer, not anything like crazy, not too much. So we're going to put just a little bit on the lid. I'm not going to wet my brush. I'm just using this dry, so you can just, there's just like a hint of shimmer, but not like crazy metallic. I'm going to take this Brow Gal brush. It's dual-ended. It has a very thin brush on one side and a spoolie on the other, but I'm going to go ahead and use it to do like a liner. So I'm going to dip into the shade Blackout and then tap off any excess so we don't get any fallout. And then I'm going to go right along the lash line and literally just draw a line at the lash line. Now I'm going to take my Marc Jacobs highliner in the shade Pink of Me. This is very, very pigmented, so I'm going to just try to do like one swipe so it's not too intense. So I'm going to go ahead and pop on some lashes. These are the Kiss number 11 lashes. And I like to put my lashes on before mascara. So lashes are on. This is what they look like with no mascara. I'm going to go ahead and put on some Lights Camera Lashes from Tarte. This is a very good thickening, lengthening mascara. Just going to make these lashes a bit darker and a bit fuller. And also help to blend my natural lashes with the fake lashes. Or my real lashes with the fake lashes. And then throw some on the lower lashes. So for lips, like I said, some parts of the video it looked more pink and like a brighter pink, and then some parts of the video it looked like more of a softer pink. So I'm going to try to go kind of in between. But this is the NYX Milan Soft Matte Lip Cream. This is a very, very, very bright pink. I'll go ahead and give you a swatch of it. As you can see, so I'm going to apply a thin layer of this not too much. If you feel like your lips turned out a little bit too pink, you can definitely blot them to make them a little bit more of a baby pink. But I like this color. I think it's cute. It is going to be, it will wear off a little bit and be more of a neutral pink. But I'm going to go over the top of that with the Dior Addict Ultra Gloss in the shade Spring Ball. This is a really pretty kind of milky pink color with a ton of reflex in it. It's very shimmery and shiny. So I'm going to go right in the middle of the lips, just to kind of give more of a pouty look. And I'm going to go right on the Cupid's bow. And I also did add a little bit of my ColourPop Flexitarian highlighter on the inner corners and right underneath the brow bone. I had to do it off of camera because my camera was overheating. So the last thing I'm going to do is spray my face with some Max Fix Plus. This is going to set down all of the powders that we used and make them kind of melt into the skin and become one with the skin. This is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. It's totally free and you won't miss out on any of my new videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! It looked like in the video... What is this? I think I got bit by something. What is that? Oh my god. There's a little eyelash. Come on, little guy. Are you kidding me?